Thank you for staying with us. This is Champion News Talk Radio, and welcome back. This is Carol Parisi. Jack Roser and myself today are speaking with Ross Archinal, National Director of AnyStreet.org. And Ross, what are some of the things that you go through before you support candidates? How do you support these candidates? Tell us a little bit about what's going on with AnyStreet and how they implement that.
We have a very strong national support team made up of anywhere from a half a dozen to 10 people that are extremely knowledgeable in politics, know the right questions to ask, that kind of thing. I typically don't get involved directly with the vetting. I leave it up to the others to do that for us. They have a series of questions, and they aren't the same for each candidate. So it's very fluid. So we don't have a list of 60 or 80 questions to give everybody and then go, okay, you scored a 54, you're really conservative, therefore we'll support you. We feel like we get better, more honest, valid answers from people when we're actually having a conversation with them. Wanting to know what their plans are for their area, that type of thing, fiscally, and just the rest of the political landscape in the country. If it's a local candidate, how do they feel about everything that's going on in the country as a whole, type of thing. And these people that do the vetting for us are very good. Now, there are some cases you might imagine where, in the case of Allen West and Marco Rubio, who we were supporting very actively, the vetting took almost no time at all because these gentlemen were on the national landscape for quite a while. And we knew where they stood with everything. And then there are people that may be running for mayor in Powder River County, Montana, who it may take a little longer to vet that person. So it doesn't always work the way you think it would, where somebody who's working on the national level would take a great deal of time to vet. It may be the person that's lesser known, Joe Smith out of Powder River County, Montana, that may need a longer vetting conversation. So.
Is there a Powder River County, Montana?
There better be.
Okay, because it's a pretty name. Ross, what, besides the vetting then, what other actions does the AnyStreet program help to implement? We were talking about with Rubio and Allen West. What else did AnyStreeters have the opportunity to do with you?
Well, at the time we didn't have an active state director for Florida. So what I did was I contacted the Rubio campaign directly and the West campaign directly and worked with their campaign directors and field managers. Usually campaigns will have a field manager. Obviously, they always have a campaign manager. And I worked directly with them to say, look, if you can give us some maps or some ideas of where some hard scrabble areas are, where the Republican people typically won't go, we'll send AnyStreeters in there because we know how to canvass properly.
Wow, so wait a minute. What I'm hearing is you backfilled.
Absolutely, we augment them.
Okay,
yeah, their
very
efforts.
Nice.
Yeah. So we were able to, and it's very it's very attractive for a campaign to say, obviously we're not going to pay you for this, and obviously we're not asking you for any money. We want you to be into office because our long-term goal is, if we're supporting you and we get you in office, we assume that you're going to lower taxes and cut spending, and we're eventually going to have more money in our pocket anyway.
Right.
Which is the real goal.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And
we've got a much different problem in vetting in Illinois because our goal here is to take back the legislature in Springfield.
Jack, when you say "our," you are speaking to the Republican Renaissance
I'm
PAC.
speaking to all decent citizens
Okay.
that are fed up with being the most corrupt state of all, what did Obama said, of all 57?
57. 50
Obama, we
50.
got news, there's 50 of them.
Yeah.
And we're the most corrupt of them all. Nobody argues with that statement. So we've got the job of replacing both the Senate and the House down in Springfield. And that's going to take a gain of about 6 seats in each. Madigan is the head of the Democrats and without doubt has more money and more brains at politics than anybody else in the state. So he's a redoubtable opponent, and he should be ashamed of himself because with all his power, he's driven Illinois right down close to bankruptcy. As a result, there are hundreds of candidates that we've got to be involved in Illinois. news for you, there's going to be a general election, there's going to be a primary election. And right now we're in a pre-primary, because if we wind up with 4 Tea Party people in an election for a given state house seat and 1 liberal on trying to run as a Republican, the liberal has a good chance of winning,
right,
because the 4 Tea Party people will split the vote. So you have to get smart at some point to figure out in politics how you actually win. So we're doing vetting to at the Renaissance PAC to come up with candidates that people can support various ways, with the way you're talking about, and so forth. But it's a tough thing to do the pre-primary, and it's a lot of detail. In our case, it's not like the top guys are running statewide or running for president. We have to vet hundreds of people and come up with people that deserve to be elected.
And that's the Republican Renaissance PAC.
That's a Republican Renaissance PAC.
What's the website to that, please?
That's the Republican Renaissance PAC. Yeah, I don't even know our own.
.org.
Yeah.
IRRPAC.com.
Thank you, Michael. IRRPAC.com. And bringing good people into office. You know what? After the break, I think we should be talking about how do we get the best people to implement the best policy through the Republican Renaissance PAC.
Well, you have to have values and spend some time with them to see if the candidates have a record of doing something about that. There's no sense getting dilettantes that make a lot of speeches.
After the break.